To another episode of Sales Chatter. Here's the deal. Social media has become a massive part of sales in 2022. And today we're going to talk about LinkedIn branding. To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly. And Jeff comes back with his.
You knew it was only a matter of time, Jeff.
So
look at this.
I've got like a 4-second difference. What do you see on your end? I see Jeff at 9:48.
So mine shows 9 and 49 seconds, and Lisa's 9 and 58 seconds. So
Jeff, so I'm 48 and 57. So there we go. Jeff's back on top. Jeff, good morning. Lisa, good morning. Everybody. Antoine, good morning. Damon, good morning. Now, does it matter that Lisa said good morning from 2 platforms?
I think it's bonus points.
That's extra. That's extra.
Is extra brownie points there? Is that extra points? I think so. I think Jeff's going to have to start jumping on with the 3 monitor situation, going, LinkedIn, Facebook. Hey, good morning. And then, so Greg. Hey, buddy. Amazing post. I must tell you, Greg, I just read your post this morning on drivers not being allowed to use facilities and stuff. And my friend, you hit the nail on the head. And I am going to reply to that and actually put something out there, but I just didn't have time before the show. But brother, great post. Good morning, Lisa. Richard, good morning, brother.
Morning, Rich.
Here we are, gentlemen. As we were just saying off air, we literally have a couple of days left in April. We're talking 4 months of the year down. It's crazy how fast things are going in today's world. And one of the things that is moving faster than most in today's world is social media. And social media is starting to play a major role, is a major role in professional sales reps' arsenal for connecting, for prospecting, for all that kind of stuff. And today the conversation is going to be specifically about LinkedIn. Message is still up. There we go. Overachiever Lisa. I didn't even remember putting that up, but anyways, it's all good. It came from Richard, so it's fine. Today, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about LinkedIn. How do we connect with people in the right way? What are some of the things that we can do to increase our brand, increase our presence, our image, our credibility on LinkedIn? So without any further ado, Anthony, welcome, my friend. Share us a little bit about yourself, and then let's dive right in.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And Dan, DJ, thank you both for having me on. Been looking forward to this. Love the show. So just a little bit of background on me. I spent about 19 years, basically my entire professional career, working for Ducks Unlimited. And for those who aren't familiar, Ducks Unlimited is a nonprofit 501c3 organization headquartered out of Memphis. Wetland and waterfowl conservation is their mission. And for 19 years, I had this awesome privilege of leading a team responsible for all the digital marketing, online fundraising programs for the organization. We raised $40 million through our channels. Fantastic organization, great job, great opportunity there. But in 2017-ish, I started to become more active on LinkedIn from a personal standpoint. Our team was in charge of all social media, and LinkedIn was like that one platform that I had zero hands-on experience with. The only time I went to LinkedIn is if I was hiring someone for my team or recruiting. That was pretty much it. Yeah. And in 2017-18, I started posting content to learn the platform. And long story short, after a couple of years, the content that I had posted had helped me sort of build a personal brand, even though that wasn't my goal setting out. Helped me to build a network. And then in 2020, when the world shut down due to COVID, I had spare time on my hands. Unfortunately, a lot of people were losing their jobs, and people were reaching out to me for the first time saying, hey, would you help me optimize my profile on LinkedIn? Or would you help me create content? Like help me out here. And that turned into a side business. And then over the next year and a half, that side business gained enough momentum that in November of last year, it was time to either go all in on this business or not. And I decided to take the leap. And today I help professionals. I help folks in B2B build their personal brand on LinkedIn so they can either advance their career or generate more clients for their business. And love what I do.
And if you guys haven't seen his stuff, it is hilarious. You have to see it. It is so fun. Oh my goodness.
I like the there was one comment on your website that I thought was really cool. Was this guy says, I'd seen the content, he goes, but it was the hashtags, like hashtag dogs rule, cats drool, on like a business post. And he's like, I just kind of stopped. And I love that because I'm all about stopping somebody in their tracks. Like one of my favorite headlines on an email is I feel like I'm asking my lawyer for a favor. And that one headline on an email gets like a 97% open rate. And so many people get back to me and go, you know what? Just that email, like lawyer and favor in one sentence just never goes. And it was like, and I started reading some of those comments that you had on your website. And I'm rolling over thinking, this is such a great hashtag because it's such a disruptor where you're reading this business post and it's like, what? Dogs rule, cats drool. Like, where are you coming? That's like so left field. It's awesome. It's so cool.
Well, thank you.
So big question, and I know people are going to start really coming in here. What's the top 5 things that you would say on your LinkedIn profile that you need to really pay attention to? Because we've had some customers come on this show and say, hey, listen, you want to do business with me? Your LinkedIn profile is pretty much your resume. And it was an interesting statement because is that resume education? Is it business? Is it creativity? Is it the content? Share with us. What's your thoughts there?
Yeah.
And I like to think of your LinkedIn profile as your landing page to the world. And I don't usually like to use the word resume because LinkedIn has a stigma, going back to kind of what I mentioned earlier, of just being thought of as a place to upload a resume and look for jobs. But it's evolved way more than that. Like that was LinkedIn 10 or 12 years ago. Today, LinkedIn is a true social media platform, and you have to approach it with that mindset. Now, to your question,
now what's the mindset difference between Facebook and LinkedIn? If
well,
you wouldn't mind diving into that for a second.
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, and people will go crazy when I say this, but in a lot of ways, it's similar. Like people have used Facebook to talk about themselves, and it's all about their personal lives and that sort of thing. And LinkedIn has always been the exact polar opposite. It's always been thought of as the place for professional content only.
Yeah.
But what I have learned, and in my years of posting content, is if you can find that right balance between what you typically would think of someone posting on Facebook and what you would think of someone posting on LinkedIn, and you can kind of find that balance and marry that up, that's where you build a personal brand, because it is the authentic content that shows your personality, that shows who you are. I'm new to sales, but I know that we all do business with people we know, we like, we trust, and we remember. And if you can put content out there, kind of to the point you just made in that example of the post with the hashtags, right? That stuck out in your mind. You remembered it. It wasn't necessarily a professional post. It was something about maybe a picture of a dog that I posted, maybe my pet, which I posted more than once. But that's where you really have success on LinkedIn, is finding the right balance between showing who you are as a person and your authentic personality and your area of expertise. Like building that thought leadership from your professional standpoint. That's the essence of building a personal brand.
Yeah.
So what are the top 5 things in the profile that people should pay attention to? And is there more than 5? Is there less than 5? Like share with us because it obviously starts with your profile. This is your landing page to the world. That's a pretty powerful statement right there, because landing pages are what people see as your company, and I've heard so many people say, you don't have a website today, you don't really exist, kind of thing.
You don't. Yeah.
If you don't have a LinkedIn profile and a strong LinkedIn profile, you don't exist. And to take it even further, it's your sales page to the world, right? And I could spend an hour talking about all the ins and outs of a profile specifically, but just a couple of the top tips. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they don't take advantage of that banner image behind their profile picture. They don't know what to put there, or they just put a scenic picture of like where they're from. And I was guilty of that for years. But go to canva.com. Canva is like one of my best friends. You can search for LinkedIn banner, and it will give you like 30 or 40 templates that you can choose from. You can edit, drag, drop, and just upload that. In 5 minutes, you can have a professional branded banner image. In that banner image, you want to show who you are, what you do, and a call to action, how people can reach you, whether that's a website, phone number, whatever that may be. So banner image is number one. Second, profile picture, that goes without saying. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about that, but you want to represent yourself well in that profile picture. The third,
can I ask you a question on that, Anthony? Because I've always been interested in profile pictures and the difference between going out and getting a professional picture done or having more of that authentic this is who I am picture. And I've had conversations with so many people, and everybody's kind of got their own personal opinion on it. Like if you look at Michael Hyatt, he's got a great profile picture where he's kind of sitting on a bench and there's some graffiti behind him and he's in his neighborhood, like close to his house. And he's got this great pose to him where he's kind of laughing. And I remember a friend of mine is good friends with him. And he said, no, he says, actually, we were just I was chatting with a friend and we had the photographer there and he just kind of took it. So don't get me wrong, it's a high quality photo, but it was more of him in this kind of natural, authentic state as opposed to like a,
I think you nailed it there,
you're doing a Madonna, you're voguing for your picture. What is best?
Yeah, so it should fit your brand and your personal brand and your company's brand. So if you're a doctor, a lawyer, the professional suit picture is probably what you would expect. I worked at Ducks Unlimited for years, for several years before I started this job. I was in a ball cap and sunglasses out in the field. Our biologists, they were out in the field wearing what they would wear, on day-to-day work. So it should match your authentic brand, who you are, what you do. 7, 8, 10 years ago, I would have said, you need to go to a professional photographer and in a studio and get a shot made. But you can get just as high of a quality resolution with your iPhone or iPad or whatever today. Just make sure it's clear in terms of resolution, and make sure it fits your brand and portrays who you are. Just don't overthink it and feel like you've got to go spend $1,000 on a professional photo shoot. That's not the case anymore.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So DJ, you need a bigger smile on your photo page.
Yeah. Even bigger.
You're smiling, but you got much more in that smile that's on your profile pic, brother.
That was handpicked by my beautiful wife. So thank you.
Yeah.
I give all the credit to her.
Greg actually says something really cool here. He says, I believe that LinkedIn, and the only difference between Facebook and LinkedIn is the language, but not the content itself. I talk one way on Facebook compared to LinkedIn.
I am so glad you said that, Greg. I agree to a point, but I think what Anthony said is the biggest key that was missing, at least for me on LinkedIn, was being me, being authentically or genuinely who I am, who I want to talk to, and those kind of things. It was more the professional I had to be. Again, we said it, being young in this industry, you thought to be a salesperson and to be the best, you had to be this other thing, this other person.
You had to create this persona that didn't really exist. Mm-hmm. And
think through that.
You're so correct, because if I go back to the beginning, kind of like 2018, 9, I've been on LinkedIn for 20 years. Never touched my profile. Like, it was one of those things where I think 20 years ago, the company came around and said, hey, LinkedIn's out. It's a professional network for social media. Get on it. And all of us in our group got on it.
Yeah.
I think that was the most of it until like 2017, 18, like Anthony was saying. But you're right. It was, I've always considered it a business social network.
Yeah.
And in that turn, I've questioned numerous times. You see people posting videos of them working out. It's like, why are you posting that? This isn't Facebook. Like, nobody wants, in a business environment, nobody wants to see you work out. But from what you're saying, Anthony, that's actually better for a brand than always just posting business. Is that what I'm getting from this? Because you're educating me here as well. I'm not by any means going to claim I'm a LinkedIn expert. It's the only social platform I use. Like, we broadcast to Facebook, YouTube, and all this kind of stuff, but I use YouTube once a week for my weekly videos. LinkedIn, if I'm going to do any post outside this show, it's typically on LinkedIn. Like, I stay away from Facebook. But I have customers that their entire platform is Facebook, and they generate millions of dollars in business from Facebook.
Right. Yeah. So it's up to every individual as to how far they want to go in showing their personal life, personality on LinkedIn. Like personally, I work out, but I would never put a video of me working out on LinkedIn. But I'm not going to judge someone who does. That person might actually have a side hustle where they're doing, personal coaching or personal training. In a case like that, it's very much potentially, relevant. But it really just goes. It goes back to, like, I've always posted content that shows my hobbies, my interests, my passions. For that person, weightlifting may be one of their greatest passions. Hey, go for it. But for me, I've always showed content like from the deer stand or the duck blind. Me with my kids out in the field fishing. Like that's part of my DNA. It's part of who I am. I've actually shot quite a few videos from the deer stand or the duck blind, and that actually has helped me stand out because you don't see many people doing that, right? And I'm not saying everyone go out to a deer stand today and start filming, especially because
it wouldn't match their brand, so it might actually be counterproductive.
Yes, right. Exactly. And I'm glad you brought that up because I think it's really, at least for me, where it changed. Because Dan, like you, I mean, until we start doing this show and start broadcasting on here, I think my LinkedIn profile still had my last job from like 5 years ago or something.
Well, because you were a Facebook guy.
Yeah,
but DJ, give yourself a ton of credit. You built a Facebook group with almost 30,000 people in it because you were that Facebook guy, right? And I don't mean it in that sense where you're that Facebook guy, but your platform was Facebook. When we got together, you just saw a new platform that probably matches who.
You definitely opened my eyes to the LinkedIn world. But and
it probably matches who you are
like Anthony and that. It's next level.
I have not seen DJ's. I have not seen DJ's Facebook page, but to grow a following of 30,000 or any substantial number, it's not about the platform. It's about the value that you are adding to that community on that platform. And you can be successful in any platform doing that if you lead with that mindset and that approach. And I'm sure that's how DJ was successful in building that.
100%. 100%.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, Damon says we use Facebook more for drivers and for general social viewing. LinkedIn we use more to connect with customers and other logistics professionals. Different platforms for different audiences. 100%. Who did we have on? Who was it just the other day or 2 weeks ago that says like TikTok is the leading platform for truck drivers? So if you're looking to, who was that DJ that was on?
I forget who it was, but I was going to bring that up. So I'm so glad you. What do you think about TikTok, Anthony? Because obviously the way that it is a super funnel. I think at least right now the way it's designed.
I am doubling down on TikTok right now from a personal standpoint for my business. Not singing and dancing and doing all the the teenager stuff. Like TikTok is one of the fastest growing social media channels for people aged 35 and up. I could quote a ton.
Hold on, could you say that again, Anthony? Whoa, hold on.
It's like the fastest growing social network for folks aged 35 and up. And if you think about it, they're the ones now who are starting to finally, jump on the bandwagon. Maybe they resisted it a year or two ago when all they saw was people dancing and singing, but it's evolved so far beyond that. And the reason I'm doubling down on it right now is because similar to the way LinkedIn was a couple of years ago, and to a degree still is today, the organic reach, especially on TikTok, is phenomenal. These are the good old days of TikTok. We're still kind of in the good old days of LinkedIn, because those are the only two social media channels out there that you can potentially get massive organic reach if you have good content without having a significant following. Whereas Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, unless you're paying for ads, your content is being seen by just a tiny, number of people overall. So TikTok organic, but then also TikTok ads. Like I've been experimenting with ads on TikTok for the last couple of weeks because they are super inexpensive. I managed Facebook ads for Ducks Unlimited like in 2012, 13, when they first started to really kind of come out, and you could spend a few $100s and reach hundreds of thousands of people. Like now you would have to spend tens of thousands of dollars on Facebook to reach that number of people. That's exactly where TikTok ads are today. And their targeting is not nearly as robust and refined as Facebook's model, but there's value there. Like I've seen it, and I am
But
doubling down
if
on
your content is good and it reaches your ICP, I mean, that's all that matters. It's going to funnel you right to it, I think.
Exactly. And what I've also seen about TikTok is it doesn't all have to be all educational or excuse me, humorous or entertaining. It can be used for educational. Like I've got my own channel where I've got just my personal content. I like to just make people laugh. I've got, a decent following there, but I've got another channel where I just give LinkedIn tips. And it's not a funny channel, but people are starting to follow it because it's, it's a quick tip they can absorb in 15 or 20 seconds, move about their day. And again, that helps me build brand presence on that network.
So how much? So here's going to be a question. I'm pretty sure people are going to be asking.
Yeah,
how much time do you spend on content creation? And where does that content creation, how does that dovetail into prospecting?
Great question.
Yeah. So I don't track the amount of time that I spend directly creating content. It varies week to week. I will tell you that there are some days and some weeks where I wake up and the creative juices are just flowing. Like I've got idea after idea. And on those days, if at all possible, I prioritize that as my number one priority. Like sit down and get the ideas on paper. I may not write them all out. I may not film everything, but like I'm going to capture them because it may be a week or two before I can figure out how I can turn that idea into a post or a video. Whereas on other days I wake up and I want to do something and it's like I'm staring at a brick wall. There's just, there's nothing. So like I batch as much content as possible. And I encourage people to do the same in the sense that when you have an idea, like just jot it down in a Google Doc or keep a notes app on your phone. I've got a folder on my camera roll that's just called LinkedIn ideas. And when I see something when I'm going about my day, oh, that could be a potential post, I'll just snap a picture, drop it in that folder. And again, it's just inspiration for ideas, later on. So the amount of time actually varies. But to the question of prospecting, to me, it all comes down to adding value to your potential prospects and establishing yourself as a thought leader, right? So you're building your personal brand, you're showing your authentic self. I like to use humor. I think that stands out on the platform. It's not hard to be funny on LinkedIn. Just as we all know, it can be a pretty dull place. But in terms of prospecting, like I teach people to build personal brands that bring customers to them, like that inbound marketing. I am a terrible salesperson, and that's bad given the fact that I just started my own consulting business. But I sell myself through my content over the long term. I want people to say, hey, okay, I've seen this guy show up in my feed consistently. That's the other challenge that a lot of people have is they'll post a few times. They don't get a lot of engagement. They get deflated and they walk away. But the difference between the people who are really successful on LinkedIn and those who aren't is typically consistency. So show up on a regular basis, add value, figure out what the pain points are for your potential customers, and answer those pain points in your content.
Yeah. Consistency. There's that word consistency, Dan. I remember you saying that word. Let's throw up some of these comments.
So James is saying, "I'll let my fiance. I need to go deer hunting." Thank you, Anthony. Lisa's saying, "What are the other three top tips, top things?"
Okay. Back to the profile. So banner image, profile image, headline. The headline is what shows up directly below your name. Okay. And a lot of people treat that as your title, like your job title in your company. No, it says headline for a reason. Use that to explain to people, to your customers, who you are, how you help them, and what makes you different from others in your industry. Like what's your value proposition? Show that in your headline. And I'm just looking at mine as an example. Below my name, I say, I help you create magnetic LinkedIn content that brings customers to you. I've got my website address in there, book a discovery call. There's a lot of creative ways, you can get creative with that headline. And the way you really want to approach it is you want people to see that, the value you would bring to them as a customer. So think of it like that.
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up, Anthony. I actually seen that tip from another lady on LinkedIn. Actually, shout out to whoever you are. But so I changed mine from what it was to that. I forget. She actually specifically said it was so many characters would show
Yep.
up, but like those so many characters under your is yeah, that call to action or that value that you bring. Yeah.
And that headline, keep in mind, it follows you everywhere on LinkedIn. It's like your business card. So when your face shows up in like search results, in the news feed, in people you may know, it's going to show your profile picture, and then it's going to show your headline. So you want those first 10 or 15 words to really grab people and very clearly tell them who you are and what you're all about. So it's very important headline for sure.
Yes, sir.
I would encourage people to turn on creator mode. So creator mode is a feature on LinkedIn they rolled out about a year ago. Don't have time to go into all the details there, but it allows you to add up to 5 topics that are converted into hashtags that show up right below your headline. And that just tells people more about who you are, tells people the type of content that you're posting. So again, if someone in your industry lands on your profile and they see your headline and they see these hashtags, they're going to be more inclined to connect or follow you just, at a moment's notice because they realize, okay, there's something in common here, or I want to learn from this person.
Yes.
Creator mode also has a lot of other features. You can create newsletters, you can do LinkedIn lives, a lot of other features there, but I would encourage everyone to enable creator mode. Mm-hmm. And the last tip I would give on the profile specifically, make sure you have a featured section enabled. So if you look at your profile, I think there's a tab called resource or add to profile, and you'll just see featured section. And what that does is it gives you up to 3 or 4 blocks of content right in the middle of your profile where you can feature anything. So you can feature some of your previous posts that did really well, or maybe it's you have a seasonal offer and you want to put that up there for a period of time. Make that front and center on your profile. If you've been interviewed in the press, if you've got a video on YouTube about yourself or your company, put that right there in the featured section. It helps people understand who you are and what you're about at a quick glance.
No, I love it. I love it. I never used that feature section. I'm gonna have to mess with that. I didn't know. I've noticed it, but I never messed with it. I didn't even know you could mess with it actually. So,
and you can.
What would you say about the section where you can actually add like YouTube URLs and all that? And I think it's like right under where your banner is. If I'm trying to picture my page, and there's a section where you can upload videos, you can kind of pin things. And I typically every week I'll go in and put my new YouTube video there. So there's always a running list of the new content from other platforms. Would you keep that to LinkedIn specific, or would you do that where you keep the YouTube things in?
No, you use that for anything you want to use it for that you think is beneficial for your brand. I have a link right now to a post that did really well last week. I have my newsletter pinned to it, and then I've got some other posts that I've got. But I'm like you; I like to refresh that from time to time so people know that I'm putting up new content. But there's, they give you complete access to post, a link to your website, YouTube videos. Everything is basically on the board, including, and I'm not a person, again, who encourages people to treat their profile like a resume, but you could actually upload a PDF of your resume if you were looking for a job and have that show up front and center in the featured section. So there's a lot of ways you can use that for content.
Interesting. But yeah, that's a great suggestion.
So Damon says, I think Ryan mentioned it.
Oh, okay. About TikTok.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
He did.
But yes, TikTok is amazing for drivers. Maggie says they have great algorithms.
Yes, they do.
And then James says the great thing about TikTok is that it's incredibly targeted. Yes. And then Damon says Centurion and American both have TikTok. And then James says, I get those creative urges from 6 a.m. At 6 a.m. or 9 p.m. Laugh out loud. I've learned to just take advantage of those bursts. Yes. Absolutely. I have these beside my bed, in my car, everywhere I go, and everything gets put on these everything gets put on these. And it's actually, just for everybody watching and listening, this is the same stack that DJ and I do every Monday for Mayhem Monday. So as ideas come up, DJ says, what about this idea? I'm like, write it down, because this is your content stack, and I think we've talked about this before, DJ, where everything is content. Like everything you can turn into content. How many people now do you see that record themselves on their sales call and turn that into content?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, the more content you put out, and again, the hardest part is getting started, but the more content you put out over time, the easier the content generation process gets, because you are always on the lookout. You always have this little voice in the back of your head saying, could this be a potential post? And before you know it, you're going to have a stack, like Dan just showed, or in my case, just this long bulleted list on my iPhone of ideas that you can turn into post. And it's all about getting started. And once you get that momentum, you get that consistency, and you start seeing people finally engage with your content. Like that's the fuel that keeps you going. But it takes that sustained effort for sure. One or two posts is not going to do it.
So Anthony, can I address something that I also think holds a lot of people back? Is that, well, I record a video and I do a lot of ahs. I'm looking around. I'm not polished. I don't have editing software. I've always believed that, and I call it ghetto filming, where you just kind of like, and you just start recording it. And that saying actually came from Frank Kern, because he was like, Frank Kern, he's like, dude, we have hundreds of thousands of dollars in studio equipment and lights and all that. And he goes, and the ads that work the best are me on my iPhone going, hey guys, it's Frank Kern. And he's like talking like that, or somebody films it from an iPhone. To the point where he does lives where he has two people stand there with iPhones and they just kind of go around and film and go like this. And he does his lives right from phones. Yep. But he says, like, that's more authentic. So can you share some of your suggestions and kind of defunk a lot of the belief that you need to have all these, like, don't get me wrong, I've got a Canon XA11. I've got some of the highest tech gear that we can get. But most of my filming comes from this camera I'm staring into right now, because I can turn on Ecamm Live Pro and just go record, and I'm done. Content's created.
Yep.
So what's your thoughts on that, brother?
Video content's one of my favorite topics. Much like I'm doubling down on TikTok right now, I'm doubling down on video this year on LinkedIn for several reasons. But let me go back to that first question of, the concern about production quality and the length and the awkwardness that people have when they start filming videos, because I've done it. Yeah. So every video I've shot, probably several hundred videos for LinkedIn over the years. Every single one of them have been on my phone. Every single one. I have a basic editing app called InShot. It's a free app, and it's really intuitive. It's really easy to help cut out those dead spaces, the pauses, or the whatever. But let me tell you, the most important app I've ever downloaded, if you ever get involved in video, that will save you time and headaches, is the Teleprompter for Video app. So it's a free app you can download, and it literally turns your phone into a teleprompter. So you can you can write your script out, upload it into the teleprompter, and literally it keeps the script right near the lens of the camera. So it's scrolling. You never lose eye contact with the audience. It feels natural. Almost every video that I shoot now, I'm using that teleprompter app, and it makes it look effortless. And it really is after you start to use it a few times. So definitely try the teleprompter app. The other thing I would tell you is focus on the quality of the content, not so much the lighting or the location or what you're wearing. If you've got a good message, people will absorb, they'll like it. And over time, just like anything, you can start to, invest in, nicer equipment or better locations, whatever that may look like. But I would say a phone, I don't have it in front of me right now. I have a really basic microphone that just plugs into my phone. It's a USB type of deal. Audio is really important. If you've got a lot of background noise and wind, that's going to turn people off. Yeah. And then captions. A year ago, I would have said captions are nice to have. Now I say they're a must.
They're mandatory, right?
And you can actually get Mixed Captions is a great app for any phone. I think it's like $15 a month, and you can do unlimited captions. You just upload your video to it, it processes, and it's right on your phone. So you go right from your phone to that, and then you can export it. That's a great app as well. I use that every time I do a video. It goes into Mixed Captions. It's on your desktop as well. So once you pay for it through the Android store or Apple store, you can actually go on your desktop and put it on the desktop version as well. That's a fantastic one.
Mixed Captions, is that what you said?
Mixed Captions, yeah. So it's it's amazing when it comes to. So if you look here, the mixed captions is that little CC right there. That's what it looks like. And then I also use Video Leap, which is, I think it's like $78 a year, and you get six or seven. Hold on, let me see here. 6 different apps where you can get a bundle package. There's Motion Leap, Video Leap, Art Leap, Beat Leap, Photo Leap, and Light Leap, which is just like Video Leap is a full-fledged editing software, like full-fledged. You can do chroma key in it with green screen and everything, and it's all on your phone. So if this is your production studio, which typically a lot of people, this is their production studio. I almost dropped and broke my production studio.
You almost dropped the production.
Did you see that? I was pretty smooth though, eh? Like I just kind of that was pretty smooth. But so if anyone's looking for that, I mean, literally for $150 a year or $160 a year for mixed captions and $78. So $220 a year, you can have a full-on fledged video studio. You can take still shots of your video and put it into Photo Leap, and it's pretty much like Photoshop on steroids. And then you can do Light Leap, where you can take like neon ropes and put them around you and all that kind of stuff. And then Motion Leap's pretty cool because you can take a picture of yourself and then you turn it into a GIF, and you just like select areas and that portion moves. So like the big one is a guy standing in front of a waterfall doing this, and he's still, but the waterfall's moving around him. So just another way to kind of have you stand out in the timeline, right?
I've got like 5 or 6 new apps I've got to try out now.
They're addictive, Anthony.
Hey, everybody watching, I'll try to watch back through this because I'm going to obviously mess with all of those apps. I'll just be honest.
So just be careful, DJ. They're addictive. Like you can lose an entire day just doing this. Oh my God, it does that? That is so cool.
Oh, look at what I can do.
Yes, so Photo Leap is really cool because you can actually take your video, which is unique to like a lot of video editing software. You have to almost have like the Premiere Pro or the Final Cut Pro X in order to do it, where you can film 2 locations. So you can actually like stand and look in a mirror, and you have the camera here, and you can do an action like this and then refilm and do this and put that film in the mirror. So like you're doing this while the mirror is doing this. Like you can do some really cool things on your phone. Like it's a pretty cool software, and it's for the price. It's like, I think you're paying $78 a month just for Premiere Pro, right? Or I guess no, it would probably be Creative Cloud that you're probably $70-$80 a month, right? But I mean, to learn the software, it's like just literally you click it, the thing opens, you move, you like it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Got some good message.
DJ Spielberg coming soon.
No. I just want to be able to make videos as cool as Anthony. Actually,
Maggie says, "I love your interview videos, Anthony." Takes her mic off. No more questions. We're done here.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you. Hey, and
all right, DJ. Well, you said you had a pretty interesting. So before we got on air here today, everybody, DJ said he picked a quote, and I mean, you're on a streak, brother. You have been like bang on with these quotes. So let's see if your quote matched today's conversation, because I don't know if it took the turn you thought it was taken.
I think we went well, but I will say, obviously, thank you, Anthony, for joining us. All the tips, guys. I mean, just check out his stuff. If you check out his stuff, you'll like what he does. It's hilarious. But his tips were amazing. Thank you. All of the comments, everybody. Thank you guys. DJ Spielberg. I see that in my face. I can't stop looking at it. It's hilarious. Thank you to American Logistics and Centurion Trucking for sponsoring this show and letting us do this every morning, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. till 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, or a little bit over like we are usually. Join us, subscribe and like below if you're watching us on YouTube, on Sales Chatter Live, or Dan Deegan on YouTube. You can catch us there. These videos, if you're watching the replays, we also do replay twice on LinkedIn, once at 12 and once at 3 o'clock for our West Coast family. Again, quote to take us out, hopefully. I think you guys like it. We'll see. I can't tell who it's from. I can't tell who it's from, but it says, "Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room."
Spot on.